Up, everybody, it's the Oracle of Elohim. Yes, it is on this Father's Day, Sunday. I hope some father is getting his praise and his worth from his family members, his beloved extension of his seeds. I hope you are being embraced in love and peace and being enlightened in what you have procreated on this earth, that you have a blessing in front of you and not a curse. Hallelujah. Just saying, because my my mother figure, Sandra Marie Cruz Brown, that's her whole government name. She pretends as if she is holy, and she tries to act like a preacher's wife, except her husband is like her too. So, they're all fake, phony, and frauds. Anyway, what I do know is the truth shall set you free, right? So, there's some things that the Most High say He hate. Well, I hate injustice. I hate a liar. Now, I know we all tell a little white lie. Like, ooh, look at that bird, so you can get somebody to turn. That was a lie. You wanted that person to turn their head so you can do whatever, play a trick. So I'm talking about those kind of lies that's not going to hurt another, right? So the other lies that do hurt people, no, I hate that with a passion, okay? And, I have to applaud the politicians who stood up for that Doge to not come to pass. I believe that's what's going on. I haven't really been watching the news. But hopefully that's not coming to pass, because Elon, I'm gonna need for you to come on a public platform like your Twitter. You're on Twitter, and tell us the truth about the Neuralink. The one that's illegally implanted in me. And what I mean by illegally, I didn't consent to this being implanted in me. And on several of my videos, I asked you to cut it off. But I know, because I'm so important. I am that importante goddess that everybody just seems to be amazed with, because if you wasn't, I would not have a plethora of people agitated, following me, trying to cause me a downfall. So, sir, since Doge did not work for you, which it shouldn't, because I'm not sure. Well, let me rewind. President Trump, how you doing? Now, on one of my channels, the Spirit was asking you a certain questions. Now, I'm going to ask, did you know that some of the people that you have employed, they have been ignoring my plea for help? Were you aware of that, President Trump? I hope not. Because, good Lord, I'm just saying. Well, perhaps somebody will make you aware because every time you say the president's name, I know your Secret Service has to be tuned in. So, hey, Secret Service, I need some of y'all help too. You know what I'm saying? Because some of them people that you protecting is, they a little bit tart, like a Pop Tart. They need to be popped out. I'm just saying. But anyway, President Trump, now you hired Attorney General Pam Bondi, right? Did you know that we had a history that when my son, my middle child, went missing, I contacted her office about, his case. And I was handed, eventually given a presumptive death certificate. Isn't that amazing? Presumptive death certificate. When the whole time, now that I know who my wrong turn family dynamic is, I thought about that movie because the mother of them killers was crazy, okay? Like Sandra Marie Cruz Brown in Florida, that is. I guess you're still there. But anyway, President Trump, before I became aware that my family was so diabolical, almost like the lady in Lake Placid. She's sitting up there feeding the alligator that is going around murdering people that's coming to the park to enjoy the park. Sandra Marie Brown is like that too. She's a murderer. And she's putting an attempt on my life because of something that she did in the past. For one, she violated me as a child, as an infant. She took me from somewhere for greed's sake. She made some type of deal with some secret society group that are all hateful, and they use spells to cast on people and take their destiny because the person that they're targeting is greater than them in their sight. But I guess literally too, because it would take a person that is weak, no self-confidence in themselves to want to try to be somebody else. And we see a lot of that, like with the lady with the NAACP, and there's other ethnic groups that, a lot of whitewashing, in other words, President Trump. So what I'm saying is, you have hired some staff members that are very familiar with who I am. And it is my belief that they are directly involved in why I am homeless and why a group of degenerates are allowed to keep harassing harassing me, stalking me, as if my rights were sold to the highest farmer to be plowed. Now, President Trump, if you're not what they say, like they be discussing January 6th and all that stuff, as to why did you allow that to happen and incite it and stuff like that. So, and before you became president, I asked you, are you going to see me as a human being because of the color of my skin? And we know, due to history, the Afro-American people have been downtrodden, and some have been somewhat elevated, so they think, because they do biddings for people of stature in society, and the ones that are able to move mountains. We'll use that as a metaphor. Okay, President Trump. Now, there's a great fortune that has been stolen from me, and I know you love talking about money. Well, I love to have my resources, and I would love to not be living in this car. I would love to have a house and make it a home. It don't have to be like the White House, a great mansion. It don't really have to be like that. I just would like a house where I can make it a home. And I would like to remain a law-abiding citizen and not be taunted by people in your group sector. More specifically, it's like you almost specifically hired certain people. And just for your records, I also contacted Governor DeSantis. Now, all of these people were contacted about a threat on my livelihood, my abilities to take care of myself. Like everybody we're creating jobs, we're doing this and that, but yet somebody in your sector is allowing others in the government sector that's a little bit lower than yours to create havoc in my life, to ping my social security number. That number, I don't know why we have it, and we have a name too. I don't know. Maybe we should just be called, Jennifer, whatever the last name is. Well, y'all know my last name, Jennifer Peak. I think I will go with 1010, New Beginnings. Because we need some new beginnings around here, President Trump. We need, for that famous motto of yours, let's make America great again. Or should we say, let's, as people in this beautiful country, or this planet called Earth, let us be humanitarians again. Because once upon a time, as history is told, some people helped out one another, teaching them things that they did not know. That's humanitarian, not tearing them down. And then them same people wound up being enslaved. It's like when you be too nice, when you be too nice, you get enslaved because society don't like nice. I don't know. Nice and money or something don't go hand in hand. I don't know how y'all think or what y'all are thinking, but that's just not who I am. But I have to stand up to my bullies, and meaning I speak my truth to my bullies, because it's like they don't give a fuck what they're doing to my life. So I have to care about my life and speak truth to power. I didn't ask to be in this position or predicament to tell you the truth, because you are an entity that people do somewhat tend to fear. And I'm asking myself now that I am here in this situation, why? Now, sure, we are supposed to respect every human being. And the ones who sit in prestige, President Trump, you tend to get a little bit more of God's glory when you sit in that seat. People protect you. They may even test your food before you eat it, so you can make sure that your food is not poisoned. Unlike, myself, with this targeting, I can't even go to a restaurant without somebody trying to harm me. So, and then you get, Secret Service protecting you from people that who are, trying to hunt me down like a road runner. They just keep going like the Energizer Bunny. They just keep going and going and doing nefarious things, President Trump. And like I say, I have contacted your appointed Attorney General, Pam Bondi, the one before her, a former Attorney General, Ashley Moody. I have contacted Governor DeSantis. So if we're going to make America great again, then shouldn't our judicial system work as it is stated? Our omission is to ensure that everyone is safe, that we will protect and serve our communities. I mean, I applaud anyone who is upstanding, laying their life down for others in law enforcement. I applaud you. I really do. Because I know that some people are very difficult and your life is on the line. Now, in saying that, President Trump, I'm not a police officer. I don't own a weapon. But yet, my name is on the FBI watch list. I, at least not to my knowledge, since I'm a product of MK Ultra and I'm still here. Yeah, that diabolical program. Someone with evil intentions for humanity. all this studying of studies that are going on with with human beings without our consent, that needs to stop. Because that's not making America great. Because in that token, I would say what's good for the goose, it should also be good for the gander, right? They say that government workers, most of your employment, I guess, is public. But then you have some AI, some technology that can very well see through walls, can very well be in a whole nother country and see you, right? So therefore, nobody really has privacy except the ones who are operating this type of equipment. And that's very much not cool, President Trump. Because if I were in my home, which I am going to get me a home, and I was there with my family, and we were having a discussion, or if I do decide to get married, and I was with my husband in a very intimate sector, like, my exes, they may know somebody in your group, I don't know. But they had the audacity to videotape me or us in a very informal way, and I was very much unaware of it, because I would never consent to that, even when I do find my true love, if that's my desire or something that I actively look into. I would never do that. For obvious reasons, right? So, with this Neuralink in my eye and everybody being able to see into my home, I've asked another one of your partners that you hired to turn it off. The Neuralink. It is a ultimate weapon to spy on someone's life, to know every aspect from when I go pee-pee or whatever. If I'm writing out a thought or possibly an invention, who would get it first? Is it what we call the Doge? The ones who wanted to look into everybody's social security number so you can see what they got going on? President Trump, I just, these are just some things on my mind, because somebody is stealing my things. And I hope it's not your teammates or even former people in the White House. Because I know that the family members, they don't have the power to, when I had apartments, some of them, the utilities were all paid for with the rent, but then some of them wasn't. So my water bill would be doubled. My auto insurance would be doubled. My medical expenses, when I had medical insurance, my visits would be doubled the amount, and I would question it with my insurance company. But because I was being stopped and someone was using a phone jammer to redirect it to the people that we see walking on the street that may be younger than myself or not, because there is all facets of people, young, old, working in this little RICO crime sting, where you're like, well, dang, shouldn't you be working? Or you were just working last week, but now you retired, you sitting home, or you riding in your car following me, stalking me like my stalkers do. President Trump, they follow me everywhere. And then they walk around holding their phone up to their ear. Oh, I got another phone to demonstrate. They walk around like this, walking past me, but their phone is on the side where it's like taking my picture, because that's the whole idea. Someone's taking my picture to, constantly tracking me and following me. So, I'm not sure if they see me on my videos or not, or some of them are, innocent, they just curious, but some of them aren't. And then, President Trump, I was in Silver Springs, Maryland, and I looked up that place. Wait a minute. No, that's not the... Well, yeah. And I looked up that place because I wanted to check out a YMCA, because the first one I went to was having some construction. I was like, oh, God, where's another one near here? So that was the next one. Spring something, Maryland. Spring Hill something. But anyway, as I was looking it up, what that place was famous for was something called a sundown county. Yeah. And we know the implications of that. That type of stuff needs to stop. Or maybe it's not going on now. I don't know. But, I did leave there before the sun was down. But it was only because, I see different things like a lot of police activities sometimes following me. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, because, from my local place of origin that I remember as growing up would be Brevard County, Florida. And somehow this family that I was raised in, they have put my back against the wall by trying to murder me. And so now I'm having to speak out against things that has happened to me, and certain people in your sector are getting PO'd. And President Trump, can I be honest with you? I really don't care if they're PO'd, because I'm fighting for my life, which is my life, and it's my right. Would you not fight for your life? I know the answer of that already. I know that you would, because you've said it on national TV. So your life, in my opinion, is no better than mine. It's only your position that is better than mine, if we're going to be quite frank. And just like your constituents that you hired, that is very familiar with my case and what's going on, So I think it's something shady. I think, and I don't know if you probably don't like the FBI anymore because you say that they did you wrong. I don't know. But can we all just work together to come to a reasonable conclusion that there is definitely something wrong affecting my livelihood? And I would like closure. I would like to enjoy this earth as a law-abiding citizen, because we have a lot of domestic terrorists, and they are not a part of that military group that you have in California harassing ICE or whatever. Because you all, or not, this place allowed them to come in here. And some of them are making good by having reputable businesses or working for a company and doing well doing so. They're for the most part, I guess they're minding their business. There may be some that are doing nefarious things, but my family, they need to be taken somewhere. Yeah, they're domestic terrorists. When you act in a manner of sneak attack a child that did not know that you hate them, but now that they're grown and the Holy Spirit woke them up to your antics and why you hate them, and then on top of that, the son that I contacted Pam Bondi, or Attorney General Pam Bondi, about when she was that before. Because it's like I'm trying to figure out, why are we doing a crazy 8 with these jobs, especially with particular jobs, ones that can make a difference, that can impact or sentence someone perhaps that should be sentenced, or perhaps unjustly, like what's going on in my case, President Trump. Okay? So stay with me. I know you're a smart man, you're a businessman, and I'm about my business. So please let me, and please check into this, because you have hired some people that, in my opinion, are intentionally neglecting their duties in which you hired them for. So I'm going to need for you to pay attention to that, or I'm going to start looking at you as you are a part of this problem too. If we can be quite frank. I think you like that, because when you were on, what's the show? The Job Show, and you say, you are fired. Okay, I would love to say that to some of your constituents who are not doing their job. Okay? So, if we could just, work on that, President Trump, I would greatly appreciate that. And yes, this is just me. This is my charisma. I'm not trying to be smug or anything. I'm just being me. This is who I am. You either like it or you don't. But then again, if you don't like it, that still does not give you the lawful right to neglect the duties in which you are hired for. And you, sir, President Trump, you are the President of the United States, and you want your people satisfied, protected, and safe, right? At least that's what I would think. I mean, you already in the White House, and you got security up the yin-yang, and someone like me don't have all of that, but yet I have to reach out to establishments like Department of Justice, or Attorney General's offices, or local law enforcement, and I would hope that they would want to do their job and not base it on, I don't like you. Because what is that, racism based on gender, age, ethnicity, and what's the other thing? That right there, sir, it needs to be changed, unless I don't know all the particulars, because right now that is going on. But what is also going on is someone is basing it on, I don't like you, so I'm not going to do anything for you. Now, what can we incorporate into racism? You cannot base it on your opinions or your feelings of like, is that not what judges say when you go to the courtroom? You need substantial evidence. You need facts, right? Now, President Trump, I don't know why my name is on the FBI watch list. Can you please tell me? Can you please give me that answer? I have been trying to call, Department of Justice to see if they are even, paying attention to my complaints. Because I complained on November 22nd, 2022. I did an office visit, I believe in 2023 to one of the FBI agencies, and I also did it in an office visit in 2024, also reaching out by emails. And then, with this cloning of my phone, somebody just erased those emails as if, oh no, we're erasing that because we don't want nobody to know that you did contact us. Well, we know for a fact that nothing is erased. You can only act like you didn't see it. So, President Trump, I'm going to need for you to check on your constituents and ask them what the hell is going on with you, because you've given me a bad rap and making people look at me like I am also down with your fuckery. Thank you, President Trump, for looking into this situation, because, it's really a tragedy when people really find out who is the cause of a lot of misfortunes, including the economic imbalance and disparages that are going on in communities. Because, ever since C-19, it's like things just keep spiraling out of control, especially in certain communities, because of that past history. And since I don't know who I am, also, President Trump, now that I say that, because my family dynamic, they're into life insurance fraud, and I believe that's what happened to my middle child, President Trump. They convinced him to deceive me and himself by committing insurance fraud. And maybe that's why, Attorney General Pam Bondi act like she didn't know anything about what I'm talking about, because the very first time that I did contact her, she did redirect me back to my local state's attorney office, the very one that I was complaining to her about, which, in my opinion, is like, okay, I'm complaining to you about them, but then you're going to send me back to them. I don't see how that makes sense, because it didn't solve a damn thing. So, President Trump, I just really need for someone to take my complaint seriously, because you get someone in forensic detective-ism and not a schism to really look into it. One that's not biased, or I don't like her because she be telling the truth, or her mouth is too loud. Kind of like politician Corrine Brown. I mean, somebody other than her is also doing the same thing that y'all arrested her for. But because she spoke truth to power and she was so overspoken, kind of like almost, what is she, a senator? And Jasmine Crockett. Hopefully she is upstanding, and you won't be able to do that to her. But, it's like we have to speak up for ourselves, President Trump. That is why God gave all of us a mouth. Right? So it's for speaking. It's for allowing us to speak up for ourselves, clear our name, right? If somebody else could put my name in their mouth and then smear my character, then surely I can speak up for myself. But see, I'm being stopped from doing that. Someone is also actively trying to be me, and using possibly a local state attorney person to do so because they work for their office. A possible classmate of mine. And it's unfortunate that so many people who's been on TV, like Ayala, oh my God, why? Nope, they're messing with my throat chakra. Ayala. You know who I'm talking about, President Trump. Can't think of her whole name right now because she's trying to stop me from saying her name. But you know who you are, Twitch. Yeah, that person, right? Anyway, it's just very sad if the Most High allows this true story to be uncovered about how messy some people are in government that are messing with people like myself and also causing murders, misfortunes, causing families to be dismantled, like a total obliviation, like the man just walk out and leave the wife and the children, or the wife walk out and leave the husband and children, or parents just single parents just walk away from their children, or like in some cases we see that red rum suicide, right? And it's very sad that all of this is going on, but somebody, in my opinion, is orchestrating things of this nature because they have nothing better to do but to watch somebody else's life be ruined, because they could pay for a vacation. They can pay for a whole buffet of things to have in their life because they have that much money in their account. So what entices them and what makes their day is to use other humans as their entertainment. And I call them like saboteur agents, because they want to sabotage your life and sit back and laugh in enjoyment. Emily Bothlery, she was kind of like that. No, not kind of like that. She was like that, okay? And the movie Gladiator expresses what I'm trying to express to you, okay? But President Trump, could you please look at your constituents and ask them, why haven't you reached out to this lady and helped her? Because someone, Sandra Marie Cruz Brown, has stolen a fortune from me. She has given it out to many people. She has paid practitioners to harm me, to block me, to do crown chakra so I won't remember things like my childhood. And President Trump, I might add, I have never seen a baby picture of myself. Could you please ask Sandra Marie Cruz Brown, where is my infant pictures? See, it's my belief that she's not my biological. I just recently learned that they had a sister named Nellie. Who knows? Did she murder Nellie? Was Nellie my mother? I don't know, President Trump, because this rejected woman, Sandra Marie C. Brown, is a thief. She's also an attempted murderer on my life. I know that for a fact. So I would like for her at 80-something to be arrested. President Trump. She has also incorporated my lineage, have steered them off course to follow her diabolical trend of stealing something from me and then writing me off like I'm trash. Let's take out the trash because we don't want nobody to know our dirty little secret. So, President Trump, I'm having to deal with stuff like this, and I'm getting very tired of it. Can you assist me with this? Speak to your very intentional, hired help about why they are not helping me. Can we please work on that, sir? I really would appreciate it. Okay. Let's see. Oh, then I have an ex lover that was paid by Sandra. That's another attempt on my life. He has HIV. But hold on. I don't have that by the grace and mercy of the Creator. It's just a mere fact that she had the audacity to pay somebody to try to intentionally infect my life where it would end. And then if I think about the treatments that I was getting when I was going to different doctors and my doctor being called or paid to treat me indifferent. So can you imagine, President Trump, if they would have succeeded in giving me HIV, I believe I would have been like a test dummy, like they would say, oh, this will help you, but they really wouldn't be giving me anything to help me. They would be trying to make sure that HIV turns into AIDS. And my ancestor Henrietta Lacks just, went through my mind. But anyway, I'm sure you know the story of her. But all I'm saying is Sandra Marie C. Brown and her children, especially that diabolical son of hers, Archie Randy Peake Jr., and his father, Archie Randy Peake Sr., they all need to be looked into. The sister Andra Marie Moses, and possibly her daughter Christine Berry. All of them need to be looked at, including Sandra's other sisters. So, all these people have ganged up on me. And somebody knows somebody in the military sector that works in your Washington constituents, right? Somebody knows some senators and that's why all this BS is continuing to go on and on like a wash, rinse, repeat. Some of their spell work, President Trump, that they use, that I rebuke, and I'm sending it back to them. That if you and the other law enforcements will go ahead and make these arrests, they'll be in a wash, rinse, repeat cycle when they go to prison at 80-something. Isn't that a shame, President Brown? In my mind, I would think I would want at that age to be healthy, enjoying good conversation, teaching a younger person what I have experienced that was good or bad or indifferent, so they won't make the same mistake. But instead, this old biddy is around here teaching the younger people how to do spell work, how to commit fraud, she's possibly molesting because she has cameras in my house. And when I was visiting my daughter and staying the night at my daughter's, I believe she had cameras in that house too. So therefore, my little grandchildren at the time, she is exploiting them, right? So in my opinion, she's a molester. She is a witch. And she needs to be arrested. Maybe she can speak to the steel bars that were closed after every meal in her shower. Can we see to that? Or maybe she needs to be put in a sane asylum because she said something was wrong with me. There's nothing wrong with me but the people who harass me. They're my problem, not my mental state. I am very aware that it is the 15th of June, 2025, and it's Father's Day. President Trump, How you being good to your son, your younger son? And well, better yet, is he being good to you? Um, you know, and then your daughters and stuff. But anyway, nevertheless, I want you to enjoy your Father's Day. Because, see, I had to be father and mother when I had my 3 children. And now my 3 children were taken because of mind manipulation, mind control, spell work, convinced by this same person, Sandra Marie Cruz Brown, to work against me, to work for her, to say things that are not true, that I'm some type of molester. Now, remember, President Trump, I just told you she had cameras all in the house. So if that would have happened, I'm sure she would have gave that to CPS, so it would have been an open and shut case like some cases, that we've seen in the public sector when it comes to law enforcement, when we could see with our eyes what clearly happened, but some law enforcement get off on some BS, and then things happen like, January 6th, or riots like, Rodney King, something like that. And we all clearly see that he was being beaten with a black stick, and if you're being hit, your body jerks. You can't keep still if somebody's constantly boom, boom, right, President Trump? Does that make sense to you? I mean, let's just keep it 100. Okay, so I'm trying to avoid stuff like, Castillo, the young man who was asked, do you own a gun? He said, yes, President Trump. He said, oh, well, let me show it to you. And then next thing we know, he's shot dead in the passenger seat while his girlfriend, fiance, is in the driver's seat. President Trump, let's make humanity great again. Let's show your humanitarian relationship to the people you are governing as our president by making my life better from being harassed by stalkers. Okay? And I thank you so very much, okay?